honestly believe that these two main events could go through submissions. It's the same, which I believe with Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush.
Yes.
I don't expect a knockout, but I do kind of expect a submission or very close submission attempts between the two, because Ferguson is, one of a kind. He loves to set up that Darce choke really, really well. He's known for doing that. I got a feeling how I could see between Ferguson and Dariush happen. I got a feeling it will go to distance, but that last round is very dangerous.
Particularly for Tony.
Yeah, particularly for Tony, because we know Tony's got that next level gas tank. He does not get tired, trains 6 hours a day, and then he's notable for those last round finishes as well against Beneil Dariush, whose BJJ pedigree is just so high. And not even that, but Beneil's, if you actually think about it, Beneil and Tony's styles are very, very similar.
I was going to say that, they're very similar. As well as their kind of physicality is quite similar as well. Long limbs, the legs are the same size. They're almost the same height. The only difference is that Tony has got a little bit of a reach advantage. He's got 4.5-inch reach advantage. They've both got 4 losses, and Tony's just got 6 more wins under his belt.
Tony's got 5 losses.
Really?
Yeah. Beneil's got 4, Tony's got 5.
Who's Tony? Tony lost to?
Tony lost to Charles, Justin, and Michael Johnson back in 2012.
That's true.
Jamie Tony back in 2009, and Karen. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm not counting the last one. What's that one?
Sorry?
Well, what's that last one?
Karen, that was back in All-Star Boxing Cage in the Cannon. That was back in 2009.
Okay.
So it was a promotion he was in before he came to the UFC.
Okay, sure.
So 4 losses in the UFC.
Okay,
you were
sure.
correct about that. Sorry,
yes.
go on.
And when it comes with Tony, like, he's so wild. He's a wild man. He's almost like a little bit of a mad scientist in there. And people have made a lot of comments about, he's training with Freddie Roach, he's sharpening up his boxing skills and things like that. I don't think it's that significant. He's done it before. Mm-hmm. Everyone says, it's not the first time he's gone to the wildcard gym. It's not the first time. They've been training with each other for a considerable amount of time. He just spent a little bit more time there recently, meeting, Ben Askren and GSP while they were there. Tony's so wild with everything. And I think that his last camps have been very disjointed because he hasn't had really a coach.
Yeah.
He's had trainers, but he doesn't have a coach. And I think he's actually made some changes. Being 37, I think, he needs to make sure that he can't just run on heart and athleticism anymore. Mm-hmm. It needs to be having a proper game plan. And that game plan is typically produced by a head coach. And if you lack a head coach and you lack a strategy and you're thinking on the fly, which is what Tony does, it doesn't set up for a good camp. It doesn't have a specific goal and specific workouts, specific regimes. I think now that other things are opening up and they're able to also get more training partners, that could be a difference as well. Because he also said, he only trained 5 hours of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu against prior to fighting Charles Oliveira, which is not a smart move, right? But with COVID and the pandemic occurring, restrictions, how are you supposed to get bodies in here to train with? It gets very disjointed. The issue with Tony is his age and the amount of damage he took in the Oliveira fight and the amount of damage he took in the Gaethje fight. Mm-hmm. And I think it's probably still too soon to come back against Dariush. I think Dariush is he's taken less damage.
Considering it was only 5 months ago as well, then he lost to Oliveira.
I think it's too soon. I think Tony's rushing it. And I think he's a wild man. I think he's incredibly creative. He's able to slice up people with his elbows and often just outworking people. But his gas tank is best suited for 5-round main events. I'll tell you right now. Tony can go all day. But for those 5-round main events, that's where Ferguson's gas tank is best suited for. When it came to when he fought Oliveira, he was too slow in turning it up. His intensity was still a little bit too slow. And I think that's the issue with Tony. His gas tank is very, very good, but it's well suited for 5-round main events and things like that where he can draw out the fight. I actually take Dariush in this fight.
Take Dariush. How do you take Dariush?
I think Dariush will beat him by decision.
I think Tony might just sneak in that last round submission.
You think so?
I reckon. I just don't want to count him out. The one thing I just got to bring up about Tony, not discrediting him, his wins or anything, but his last 2 wins, one was by a doctor stoppage because Donald Cerrone, he blew his nose and then they couldn't continue to fight on. And the other one was corner stoppage when Anthony Pettis broke his hand. And then we had a bit of a debate about that one as well. We were arguing whether or not that...
I felt that his fight against Cerrone, I thought... Now, it was a while ago, so I do need to think back to it, but I believe Ferguson was beating Cerrone up to that point, right? I think we both agree on that, but I think we disagreed because you thought Tony was winning the fight when he was fighting Pettis. I thought Pettis was beating Ferguson. I thought towards the end of the round, that's when Ferguson started to pour it on, but it was a bit too late.
Yeah.
And I think that the fight would have been different if had Pettis not of broke his hand. However, you can only say so much because Tony's cardio is second to none.
Yeah.
So, and you can only say, with fights, you can only say, oh, well, this could have happened. It's a fight. There's always a, Tony could go in for an Imanari roll and just fucking break someone's leg. That's the thing with a fight, and especially with someone like Tony, he's wild. He does stuff that is creative and no one it's typically the strikes that knock people out. And Yuri Prohaska's win over Dominic Reyes comes to mind. It's the strike that you don't see is what knocks you out.
Yeah.
And that was what happened with Reyes, getting knocked out by that spinning elbow. So could Tony get one of those spinning elbows or knock someone out with an elbow as Dariush comes in to take him down or to, cut the distance, and Ferguson just does a short elbow, cracks Dariush, puts him back on his back, and Ferguson comes in and puts in brutal ground and pound. I don't know. But I think Ferguson is just like the gym's, Fred Roach's gym, he's a wild card. That's what makes him so special and so entertaining. But I think Dariush will win. I think he's more hungry. I think Tony's maybe a little bit burnt out. 2 interim belts, not getting the stuff he deserves. I think Dariush is he's hungry.
Too hungry.
He hasn't tasted a belt. Even an interim belt, he hasn't tasted it.
Yeah.
So I think Dariush will beat him. Also coupled with Ferguson's... I think Ferguson has a trouble with adjusting to the 3 rounds and putting his intensity up rather than prolonging it as if it was a 5-round event. I felt like when he fought Oliveira, he really could have been throwing so much more volume. I think he could have been throwing... Again, he was on his back and getting controlled, but...
Plus, we argue that, if the Charles Oliveira versus Tony Ferguson could have gone a different way if it was 5 rounds. I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, for sure.